Join me as I dive deep into the mysterious events surrounding Pan Am Flight 103 over Scotland and see if I can uncover the truth behind what really happened. Pan Am Flight 103. Just the mention of those words sends shivers down the spine of anyone familiar with aviation history. This was more than just a tragic event. It was a game changer that would alter the course of airline security forever. Operating from London's Heathrow Airport to New York's John F. Kennedy International Airport, Flight 103 was a regular transatlantic service that had been in operation since the early 1960s. On board, you'd typically find a mix of business travelers, tourists, and even the occasional celebrity. But on this particular December 21st, 1988, something was about to go horribly wrong. The significance of Pan Am Flight 103 can't be overstated. As one of the most iconic airlines of its time, Pan Am was synonymous with luxury and sophistication. Founded in 1927, the airline had built a reputation for excellence, innovation, and safety. So when disaster struck, the entire aviation industry was left reeling. The central issue surrounding Flight 103 is, of course, the bomb that caused the disaster. In the aftermath of the tragedy, investigators would discover that a cleverly concealed explosive device had been smuggled on board, detonating just 38 minutes into the flight. The implications were staggering. If a bomb could be smuggled onto a plane, what other vulnerabilities existed in airline security? The Lockerbie bombing, as it came to be known, sent shockwaves around the world. How could this have happened? Was it a rogue employee, a terrorist organization, or something even more sinister? The investigation that followed would be one of the most complex and challenging in aviation history. Airline security, already a top priority, was suddenly thrust into the spotlight. The industry was forced to re-examine its procedures, from passenger screening to baggage handling. It was clear that a major overhaul was needed to prevent such a tragedy from happening again. In the months and years that followed, security measures would become increasingly stringent. Passengers would have to adapt to increased screening times, stricter luggage restrictions, and a heightened sense of vigilance. It was a new era for air travel, and one that would forever be shaped by the events of that fateful December evening. As we delve deeper into the story, it's essential to understand the timeline of events leading up to the flight's departure. On that morning, 259 unsuspecting passengers boarded the Boeing 747 bound for New York. There were students returning home for Christmas, families embarking on holiday vacations, and business travelers eager to close deals before the year end. Little did they know their lives were about to take a devastating turn. Among the passengers were 189 Americans, 43 Britons, and citizens from over a dozen other countries. It was a diverse group, united only by their desire to reach their destination safely. As they settled into their seats, the crew began their pre-flight checks, unaware of the horror that awaited them. The investigation that followed would be led by the Scottish authorities in conjunction with the FBI and other international agencies. It was a painstaking process involving countless interviews, forensic analysis, and meticulous reconstruction of the flight's final moments. As detectives pieced together the evidence, a clearer picture began to emerge. The bomb, concealed in a Toshiba radio cassette player, had been smuggled onto the plane by a Libyan intelligence officer. The motive, it seemed, was revenge against the United States for its 1986 bombing of Tripoli. The critical moments just before and after the explosion are still etched in the memories of those who lived through it. As the plane approached cruising altitude, the tranquility of the cabin was shattered by a deafening blast. The aircraft disintegrated, sending wreckage and bodies plummeting towards the sleepy town of Lockerbie. Survivors would recount the chaos that followed as passengers struggled to comprehend the scale of the disaster. It was a scene of unimaginable horror, with bodies strewn across the countryside and debris scattered for miles. The response from both passengers and authorities was nothing short of heroic. Emergency services rushed to the scene, braving treacherous conditions to search for survivors. It was a hopeless task, as all 259 on board, along with 11 residents of Lockerbie, had perished in the disaster. The Lockerbie bombing would go on to become one of the most infamous acts of terrorism in modern history. The fallout would be felt across the globe, leading to a major shake-up in international relations and airline security. In the end, the lessons learned from Pan Am Flight 103 would change the face of air travel forever. As we remember the victims of this tragic event, we're reminded of the importance of vigilance and cooperation in the pursuit of safety. So what do you think? Did the investigators get it right, or are there still unanswered questions surrounding the Lockerbie bombing? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you're new here, consider subscribing for more compelling stories on aviation disasters. Thanks for watching. Until next time, stay informed and stay curious.